A quiet world under threat. Earth floated in the vastness of space, a fragile blue dot in a galaxy dominated by empires so advanced their existence felt more like myths than reality. For humanity, the cosmos was a source of wonder, but also an ever-present reminder of its own limitations. Earth's governments had barely begun to explore beyond their solar system. The planet's brightest minds labored to develop technologies that could only mimic what ancient alien civilizations had mastered eons ago. To the rest of the galaxy, Earth was a backwater, an unremarkable world with little to offer beyond its natural resources. The Galactic Empire, the most dominant and feared force in the universe, saw Earth as nothing more than an oddity. This colossal empire spanned thousands of star systems, its territories policed by fleets of warships so vast they could blot out the stars. Their technology was centuries ahead of Earth's, their weapons capable of destroying entire planets with a single strike. To them, Earth's defenses, outdated ballistic missiles, and primitive orbital satellites were laughable. The Empire had encountered countless civilizations before, most of which had either submitted or been obliterated. Earth's turn was inevitable. One fateful day, the Galactic Empire's shadow loomed over Earth. It started with a message, transmitted through every global communication channel. The transmission was cold and impersonal, delivered by a figure whose holographic image towered above Earth's cityscapes. The alien, clad in metallic armor adorned with glowing insignias, delivered an ultimatum. Earth, your existence is inconsequential in the grand scheme of the galaxy. Your resources, however, are of value. You will surrender unconditionally or face annihilation. Resistance is futile. The message plunged Earth into chaos. The news spread like wildfire, igniting panic in every corner of the globe. Governments scrambled to respond, holding emergency summits and deploying what little military force they had. The United Nations attempted to issue a unified plea for peace, but the Galactic Empire dismissed it as the feeble whimper of an ant trying to reason with a boot. In the Empire's capital, a glittering metropolis of towering spires and bustling skies, its leaders laughed at Earth's plight. To them, the planet was a mere footnote in their conquests. They think they can resist us. One commander scoffed, gesturing to a holographic map of Earth. Their weapons are relics. Their ships wouldn't last a second against even our weakest patrols. The Empire's fleet, a vast armada of warships larger than Earth's entire military infrastructure, was already en route. Their arrival was expected within days. On Earth, despair took root. Civilians watched in terror as images of the Empire's ships filled their screens, each one a monstrous construct of metal and firepower. Scientists and strategists worked around the clock, desperately seeking a way to defend the planet. But the truth was inescapable. Earth had no chance of survival. Or so it seemed. Deep beneath the surface, in a sprawling underground facility, hidden from both the public and the Empire's watchful eyes, humanity's last hope was taking shape. This facility, known only to a handful of Earth's top minds, was the birthplace of a secret project years in the making. Led by Dr. Elena Carter, a brilliant aerospace engineer, and General Arthur Steele, a seasoned military strategist, this initiative had one purpose: to create a weapon capable of turning the tide in an unwinnable war. The project was called Phantom Spear. At its core was a fleet of experimental stealth ships, unlike anything Earth had ever built. These ships were designed to be invisible to the most advanced detection systems, their surfaces coated with adaptive camouflage that bent light around them. They were small, fast, and armed with cutting-edge weaponry, a fusion of Earth's ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien technology salvaged from previous encounters with extraterrestrial debris. The ships had been in development for over a decade, funded in secret by a coalition of governments and private organizations that believed Earth's isolation would one day end in conflict. The fleet was humanity's ace in the hole, a weapon meant to be used only when all other options had failed. And now, with the Galactic Empire bearing down on the planet, the time had come to reveal it. But even within the secret facility, there were doubts. The stealth fleet was untested in real combat. Its pilots, though highly trained, had never faced an enemy of the Empire's magnitude. And most troubling of all, the fleet was outnumbered thousands to one. General Steele addressed the team in a rare moment of candor. "We are not fighting for victory," he said, his voice heavy with the weight of the moment. "We are fighting for survival. If we fail, humanity falls. But if we succeed, even for a moment, we prove that we are not the insignificant species they think we are." Above ground, oblivious to the secret preparations, the people of Earth braced for the worst. Families huddled together in makeshift shelters. Soldiers stood on alert, their weapons pointed at the sky, knowing they would be of little use. Across the planet, an eerie silence settled, broken only by the occasional sob or whispered prayer. And then the Empire arrived. The first wave of ships pierced through Earth's atmosphere, their sleek obsidian hulls gleaming in the sunlight. They descended with an air of inevitability, their engines humming with a power that dwarfed anything Earth had ever seen. The world watched in paralyzed terror as the invaders took position in the skies above major cities, their weapons trained on the surface. In the Empire's command vessel, Admiral Xalvar surveyed the scene with satisfaction. "Begin the operation," he ordered, his voice devoid of emotion. "Crush any resistance. Leave no survivors." But just as the Empire's fleet began to move, something unexpected happened. From the shadows of space, invisible to the naked eye, the first of Earth's stealth ships activated. Their cloaking systems shimmered as they darted into formation, each one carrying the hopes of an entire planet. The time for hiding was over. Humanity was about to fight back. Humanity strikes from the shadows. The Galactic Empire's warships hung in Earth's skies like harbingers of doom. Their engines thrummed ominously, and their sleek, black hulls reflected the sunlight in an almost mocking fashion. To the people of Earth, it was the end of days, a moment when dreams of peace and progress crumbled under the weight of interstellar oppression. But deep in the underground bunkers of Earth's secret facility, the mood was electric. The time had come to deploy Phantom Spear. In the command center, Dr. Elena Carter and General Arthur Steele stood at the helm of the operation. A holographic map of Earth displayed the Empire's fleet positions in real time, their massive ships glowing red against the green icons representing Earth's secret stealth fleet. "Elena," Steele said, his voice steady but urgent, "are we certain the cloaking systems can hold up against their sensors?" "They'll hold," Elena replied, her fingers dancing across the console as she made final adjustments. "Our tech wasn't built to match theirs. It was built to outthink them. They've never encountered anything like this." General Steele nodded, turning to the room filled with pilots and technicians. "This is it, people. The galaxy sees us as weak, insignificant, but today we prove them wrong. Today, humanity fights not just for survival, but to show that we are not prey. We are predators." The pilots, a group of men and women chosen for their skill and resolve, rose from their seats. Each had trained in secrecy, knowing that their mission might be a one-way trip. Commander Lyra Voss, leader of the Phantom Spear fleet, addressed her team with unwavering determination. "You've trained for this moment," she said, her voice echoing in the chamber. "You've studied every maneuver, mastered every system. Out there, they think we're powerless. Let's show them just how wrong they are." As the pilots suited up, the stealth ships activated one by one. Each vessel was a marvel of engineering, sleek, angular, and bristling with advanced weaponry. Unlike the Empire's massive, lumbering warships, these were designed for agility and precision. Their cloaking systems made them practically invisible, even to the Empire's advanced sensors. In the silence of space, the first wave of Phantom Spear ships moved into position. Hidden by their cloaking fields, they orbited just beyond the Empire's fleet, waiting for the signal. On the surface, humanity held its breath. Civilians huddled in underground shelters, their eyes glued to screens displaying a live feed of the skies. Soldiers stood at the ready, even as they knew their conventional weapons were little more than a gesture of defiance. And then it began. The first strike was surgical. A stealth ship emerged from its cloaking field for a fraction of a second, long enough to unleash a burst of high-energy plasma toward one of the Empire's cruisers. The blast struck the ship's primary engine, sending it into a spiral as explosions rippled along its hull. Before the Empire could react, the stealth ship vanished back into the void. On board the Empire's command vessel, Admiral Xalvar stared at the tactical display, his expression shifting from smug confidence to confusion. "What just happened?" he demanded. "Who fired that shot?" "Unknown, Admiral," replied one of his officers. "Sensors didn't detect any ships in the area." A second explosion rocked the fleet. Another of their warships was struck, its shield generators failing under the precision strike. Alarms blared throughout the command vessel as chaos erupted. The Empire's fleet, accustomed to overwhelming their enemies with brute force, was unprepared for an invisible opponent. "Scan the area again," Xalvar barked. "Find them and destroy them." But no amount of scanning could locate the Phantom Spear ships. They darted in and out of their cloaking fields, striking with pinpoint accuracy before disappearing into the shadows. The Empire's fleet, vast and powerful as it was, began to falter under the relentless assault. On Earth, the news of the counterattack spread like wildfire. For the first time since the invasion began, hope sparked in the hearts of humanity. People emerged from shelters, cheering as they watched the once invincible Empire struggle against their unseen foe. Soldiers, previously resigned to their fate, stood straighter, their resolve hardening. Inside the command center, General Steele monitored the battle with a mixture of pride and determination. "They're scrambling," he said, watching as the red icons on the map shifted erratically. "The Empire thought they were unstoppable, but now they're running scared." Dr. Carter allowed herself a small smile. "We've given them something they've never had to deal with before: doubt." The battle intensified. The Phantom Spear fleet moved as one, coordinating their strikes to exploit the weaknesses in the Empire's formations. Each time the enemy attempted to regroup, another warship fell. The skies above Earth, once dominated by the oppressive presence of the Empire's fleet, began to clear as debris rained down into the atmosphere. Admiral Xalvar, his confidence shattered, made a desperate decision. "Deploy the exo-dreadnought," he ordered. "If they want to play games, we'll end this in one strike." The exo-dreadnought was the Empire's ultimate weapon, a massive battleship equipped with enough firepower to level an entire planet. As it emerged from the depths of the fleet, its sheer size and menacing appearance caused a ripple of fear among Earth's defenders. Even the Phantom Spear pilots hesitated for a moment. Commander Voss's voice cut through the comms. "Stay focused, team. We've taken down their ships. Now we take down their pride. Target the dreadnought's shield generators. We've trained for this." The Phantom Spear fleet converged on the exo-dreadnought, their small ships darting around its massive frame like a swarm of hornets. The dreadnought's weapons roared, unleashing a barrage of firepower that lit up the skies. But the stealth ships were too agile, too unpredictable. They wove through the chaos, their plasma cannons delivering precise strikes to the dreadnought's critical systems. In the command center, the tension was palpable. Every screen displayed the unfolding battle as the Phantom Spear fleet pressed their attack. On the surface, civilians watched with bated breath, their collective will pushing the pilots forward. And then, it happened. A single, perfectly timed strike from Commander Voss's ship pierced the dreadnought's main reactor. For a moment, the colossal battleship hung in the air, its systems flickering. Then, with a deafening explosion, it erupted into a blinding cascade of fire and debris. The shockwave rippled through the Empire's fleet, scattering the remaining ships. The dreadnought's destruction sent a clear message to the galaxy. Humanity was no longer a bystander in the cosmic order. Against all odds, Earth had struck back. But the battle was far from over. As the surviving Empire ships retreated, A new challenge loomed on the horizon. Humanity had shown its strength, but now it had to prepare for the Empire's inevitable retaliation. In the silence that followed the dreadnought's fall, one thing was clear: this was only the beginning. Shadows of defiance. The destruction of the exo-dreadnought sent shockwaves through the Galactic Empire's chain of command. Across the universe, news of Earth's unexpected triumph spread like wildfire. A world the Empire had deemed insignificant had managed not only to resist, but to cripple one of its most formidable weapons. The humiliation was absolute. For the first time in centuries, the Empire faced a foe it had underestimated. And that foe had struck a blow that would not be forgotten. On Earth, celebrations erupted. Civilians poured into the streets, cheering as footage of the exo-dreadnought's fiery demise played on screens worldwide. Families hugged one another in relief, and soldiers who had braced for inevitable defeat now stood with renewed pride. For the first time, humanity dared to hope that survival was possible. But in the underground command center, the mood was far from jubilant. General Arthur Steele and Dr. Elena Carter studied the latest intelligence reports with grim determination. The Empire's retreat, while a victory in the moment, was not a signal of surrender. If anything, it was a prelude to something far worse. "They'll come back," Steele said, his tone flat. "And when they do, it won't be with a fleet. It'll be with their full force." Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth's defenses. "We bought ourselves time, but not much. The Empire won't make the same mistakes twice. They'll adapt, and they'll come at us with everything they have." Commander Lyra Voss, fresh from leading the Phantom Spear fleet to victory, entered the room, her helmet tucked under one arm. "Then we adapt faster," she said, her voice steely. "We've shown them that we're not afraid to fight. Now we need to show them that we can outlast them." The remnants of the Phantom Spear fleet were brought in for repairs, their battered hulls bearing the scars of the battle. Engineers and technicians worked tirelessly, upgrading systems and integrating data gathered from the confrontation with the Empire. Every detail, every weakness exposed in the enemy's strategy, was studied and exploited. Earth's defenders knew they wouldn't get a second chance if they failed. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire convened an emergency council. The Grand Chamber, a sprawling hall lined with towering statues of past conquerors, was filled with the Empire's highest-ranking officials. At the center of the room stood Admiral Xalvar, his face a mask of barely contained fury. "This is unacceptable," Xalvar growled, his voice echoing through the chamber. "A primitive world with no standing in the galactic hierarchy has humiliated us. Our enemies will see this as a sign of weakness." The council erupted into murmurs of discontent. The Empire's strength had always been rooted in its image of invincibility. To lose even a single battle, especially to a backwater planet like Earth, threatened that perception. "Admiral," a voice interrupted. It belonged to Supreme Strategist Varith Ral, a cold and calculating figure known for his ruthless efficiency. "Your failure has given us valuable information. This isn't just about Earth's resistance. It's about their ingenuity. They've developed technology we didn't anticipate. That cannot go unanswered." "What are you proposing?" Xalvar asked, his tone wary. "We send a second wave," Ral replied, his expression unreadable. "But this time, we don't just attack. We infiltrate. We learn how they manage to defy us. And once we have what we need, we annihilate them." The plan was set in motion. A smaller, more specialized fleet was dispatched to Earth. Unlike the first wave, this fleet was designed for covert operations. It carried elite soldiers, advanced drones, and reconnaissance ships capable of evading detection. Their mission was clear: uncover Earth's secrets and pave the way for the Empire's return in full force. Back on Earth, the victory celebration was short-lived. General Steele received intelligence that another fleet was en route. And this one was different. The Empire wasn't just coming to conquer. they were coming to understand. This was no longer a battle of brute strength. It was a battle of wits and strategy. "We can't afford to wait for them to strike," Steele said during a high-level briefing. "If they're coming to learn, we need to stay one step ahead. We need to make them question everything." Dr. Carter proposed an audacious plan. Using the Phantom Spear fleet's stealth capabilities, they would launch a series of decoy operations to mislead the Empire's reconnaissance efforts. False installations were constructed, complete with dummy weapons and fake energy signatures. Entire cities were evacuated, their populations relocated to underground shelters to create the illusion of abandonment. The goal was simple: confuse the enemy, buy time, and keep the Empire guessing. Commander Voss led the first of these decoy missions. Her team infiltrated the outer reaches of the solar system, planting false signals designed to mimic the presence of advanced Earth technology. They knew the risks. If even one ship was discovered, the entire plan could fall apart. But the stakes were too high to hesitate. As the Empire's infiltration fleet approached, their sensors detected the decoys. To the untrained eye, it appeared as though Earth had developed a network of orbital weapons and defensive platforms. The Empire's operatives, skilled as they were, found themselves chasing ghosts. But the Empire was not so easily fooled. As their reconnaissance drones scoured the planet's surface, they uncovered fragments of the truth. They found traces of advanced technology in the wreckage of the exo-dreadnought, evidence of engineering that shouldn't have been possible for a planet of Earth's development level. The discovery sent a ripple of concern through the Empire's ranks. Back in the command center, Steele and Carter monitored the situation closely. The decoys were holding, but only just. The Empire's operatives were relentless, their every move bringing them closer to uncovering the truth. The pressure weighed heavily on the team, but they knew that failure was not an option. "We need to hit them where it hurts," Voss said during a strategy meeting. "They're here to learn about us, but they've made one critical mistake. They've underestimated our ability to adapt." The Phantom Spear fleet launched another strike, this time targeting the Empire's reconnaissance ships. Using their stealth systems, they approached undetected and dismantled the enemy's ability to gather intelligence. It was a high-risk maneuver, but it paid off. The Empire's operatives, cut off from their support, were left scrambling. As the battle in the shadows continued, a new sense of resolve took hold among Earth's defenders. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting to prove that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Each strike, each maneuver, was a declaration that Earth would not bow to oppression. But the war was far from over. The Empire had seen what humanity was capable of, and they were determined to crush this defiance at all costs. Earth's victory had given it a spark of hope, but that spark would need to become a fire if it was to withstand the storm that was coming. The Empire's calculated revenge. In the void of space, silence reigned, but in the hearts of Earth's defenders, the tension was deafening. The victory against the Empire's initial assault and the sabotage of their reconnaissance efforts had bought humanity precious time. But no one was naive enough to think the Empire would let such humiliation stand. The enemy's retreat was not surrender, it was a recalibration. The Galactic Empire, wounded and enraged, had regrouped. Supreme strategist Verith Rull now helmed the effort to retaliate. Unlike the brute force tactics of Admiral Xalvar, Rull was methodical and merciless. His fleet was a mix of warships, reconnaissance drones, and experimental infiltration units. It was not an invasion force. It was a scalpel aimed at Earth's heart. In the depths of the Empire's war room, Rull addressed his commanders. His holographic projection towered over them, his voice calm but cold. Earth has demonstrated an unexpected level of ingenuity. Their ability to adapt is remarkable, but ingenuity alone cannot save them. They lack scale, resources, and allies. We will exploit these weaknesses and ensure that their defiance is the last memory of their civilization. Back on Earth, the mood in the command center was grim but resolute. Dr. Elena Carter and General Arthur Steele worked tirelessly to predict the Empire's next move. Intelligence reports from the Phantom Spear fleet suggested that the enemy strategy had shifted. Instead of overwhelming firepower, they were deploying smaller, highly specialized units designed for infiltration and sabotage. "This isn't just a war anymore," Steele said during a briefing. "It's a chess game. They're trying to dismantle us from the inside." Commander Lyra Voss nodded. "Then we play the game better. If they're sending infiltrators, we turn our defenses into traps. We don't just defend. We lure them in and dismantle them piece by piece." The first signs of the Empire's new strategy appeared when Earth's orbital communication satellites began to fail. At first, it seemed like technical malfunctions, but closer inspection revealed that the failures were deliberate. The Empire's drones had infiltrated Earth's systems, planting malware that disrupted communications and blinded the planet's defenses. "It's a surgical strike," Dr. Carter said, studying the data. "They're not trying to destroy us outright. They're trying to cripple us." Steele slammed his fist onto the table. "Then we hit back before they finished the job." Earth's countermeasures were swift. A team of Earth's best cyber warfare specialists, led by a brilliant young hacker named Marcus Vega, worked around the clock to purge the Empire's malware and fortify the planet's systems. Using a combination of brute force coding and creative algorithms, Vega's team not only restored functionality, but also managed to infiltrate the Empire's own communication networks. Through this infiltration, Earth's defenders learned that the Empire was deploying a new type of infiltration unit: biomechanical drones disguised as civilians. These units were designed to blend in among Earth's population, gathering intelligence and sabotaging infrastructure from within. The revelation sent shockwaves through Earth's leadership. "This changes everything," Voss said during a high-level meeting. "If they've already deployed these drones, we could have enemy operatives walking among us right now." Steele wasted no time. Earth's cities were placed on high alert, and specialized detection units were deployed to identify and neutralize the infiltrators. The task was monumental. The drones were nearly indistinguishable from humans, and their programming allowed them to mimic emotions and behaviors with chilling accuracy. In the city of New Horizon, one of Earth's largest urban centers, the first drone was discovered. A young woman, seemingly a refugee from the war, was caught transmitting data to an unknown source. When cornered by Earth's security forces, she revealed her true nature: a biomechanical construct designed for espionage. Her capture provided valuable insight into the Empire's infiltration methods, but it also raised unsettling questions. How many more were there? And how long had they been active? The people of Earth were thrust into a state of paranoia. Trust eroded as neighbors eyed each other with suspicion. The Empire's plan to sow chaos was working. Steele and Voss knew they had to act fast to restore order and focus Earth's efforts on the real enemy. "We need a win," Voss said, pacing the command room. "Something big, something that reminds people who we're fighting and why." That win came in the form of a daring operation. Using the captured drone, Earth's cyber warfare team discovered the location of an Empire forward base hidden on the dark side of Earth's moon. The base served as a staging ground for their infiltration efforts, housing supplies, drones, and command units. "This is our chance," Steele said, his eyes gleaming with determination. "We hit that base, and we cripple their ability to infiltrate us." The operation, codenamed Lunar Spear, was launched within 48 hours. The Phantom Spear fleet, repaired and upgraded, carried out the assault. The stealth ships approached the moon undetected, their cloaking systems rendering them invisible to the Empire's sensors. Once in range, they unleashed a precise and devastating attack. The battle for the moon was swift but brutal. The Empire's forces, caught off guard, scrambled to defend the base. But the Phantom Spear pilots were relentless, their strikes targeting key infrastructure and command units. Commander Voss led the charge, her ship weaving through enemy fire with surgical precision. In the command center, Earth's leadership watched the battle unfold in real time. When the final explosion lit up the moon's surface, cheers erupted throughout the room. The Empire's forward base was destroyed, and with it, their immediate ability to deploy infiltrators. But the victory came at a cost. Several Phantom Spear ships were lost in the assault, and Earth's resources were stretched thinner than ever. The people celebrated the win, but Steele and Carter knew that the battle for the moon was just a prelude to the larger war still to come. Back in the Empire's war room, Varith Rull received news of the defeat with a calm that was more unsettling than rage. "They're clever," he admitted to his commanders. "But cleverness only delays the inevitable. Prepare the main fleet. Earth has earned our attention." As the Empire's war machine prepared to unleash its full might, Earth's defenders braced for the storm. The battle for the moon had proven humanity's resilience, but it had also painted a target on the planet that no amount of stealth could erase. Earth had defied the Empire once again, but the question remained, how long could they hold out against the inevitable? The wrath of the Empire. The dust of victory on the moon had barely settled when Earth's defenders felt the growing weight of an approaching storm. The Galactic Empire, humiliated twice now, was mobilizing its full might. Supreme strategist Varith Rull had assembled a fleet so vast that its arrival in Earth's solar system would obscure the stars. This was no surgical strike. This was an extinction-level response. In the Empire's war room, Rael addressed his commanders. "Earth has demonstrated resourcefulness, but resourcefulness is not resilience. Their victories have been mere ripples in the tide. We will crush them so thoroughly that their defiance will become a cautionary tale for the rest of the galaxy." The fleet Rull deployed was unlike anything Earth had faced before. It included dreadnoughts equipped with planet-cracking weapons, frigates optimized for atmospheric combat, and swarms of autonomous attack drones. These ships carried not only soldiers but an array of experimental weapons designed to overwhelm Earth's defenses. Back on Earth, the tension was palpable. In the underground command center, General Steele and Dr. Carter prepared for what they knew would be the fight of their lives. Commander Voss, her face etched with determination, studied the fleet's projections. The scale of the Empire's retaliation was staggering. "This isn't a battle anymore," Voss said. "It's survival. If they land on Earth, it's over." Steele nodded. "Then we don't let them land." The Phantom Spear fleet, though diminished, was mobilized once more. Engineers worked around the clock to repair and upgrade the remaining stealth ships. New weapons, designed to counter the Empire's drone swarms, were installed. Meanwhile, Earth's scientists developed advanced EMP systems to neutralize the Empire's electronic warfare capabilities. Dr. Carter spearheaded the effort to turn Earth's satellites into a weaponized defense grid. Using the data recovered from the Empire's reconnaissance drones, her team reprogrammed the satellites to emit concentrated energy beams capable of targeting enemy ships in low orbit. It was a desperate measure, but desperation had become Earth's greatest weapon. The first signs of the Empire's arrival came in the form of gravitational anomalies. The sheer mass of the incoming fleet disrupted the solar system's balance, pulling asteroids from their trajectories and causing fluctuations in Earth's tides. Then came the visuals. Hundreds of ships emerging from hyperspace, their metallic hulls glinting ominously against the blackness of space. The Empire's fleet moved with a terrifying precision, forming an unbroken wall of destruction as it advanced toward Earth. From the command center, Steele watched the holographic display, his jaw tightening. "They're not holding back this time." "We can't either," Voss replied. "If we lose the skies, we lose everything." The battle began before the Empire's fleet even reached Earth's atmosphere. The Phantom Spear fleet launched a preemptive strike, emerging from the shadows to target the fleet's outermost ships. The stealth ships danced through the void, their plasma cannons carving through enemy vessels before vanishing back into cloaked invisibility. But the Empire was ready. Their ships unleashed a barrage of countermeasures, filling the space around them with energy pulses designed to disrupt the Phantom Spear's cloaking fields. Several stealth ships were hit, their sleek hulls igniting in violent explosions. Commander Voss led her team with unwavering focus, weaving through the chaos and directing precision strikes at the Empire's command ships. Meanwhile, Earth's orbital defense grid sprang to life. Satellites that had once been used for communication and navigation now became weapons of war. Energy beams lanced through the darkness, striking enemy ships with pinpoint accuracy. The Empire's drone swarms descended on the satellites, attempting to dismantle them, but Earth's engineers had anticipated this. Automated turrets mounted on the satellites opened fire, turning the drones into floating debris. In the command center, Dr. Carter monitored the battle with a mix of anxiety and determination. The satellites are holding, but they won't last long against those drones. We just need them to buy us time, Steele said. Voss and her team are creating enough chaos to keep the Empire off balance. If we can delay their main fleet, we might stand a chance. But the Empire's retaliation was relentless. Their dreadnoughts moved into position, their massive cannons targeting Earth's surface. The first shot fired was a warning, a blinding beam of energy that vaporized an uninhabited island in the Pacific. The message was clear: surrender or face annihilation. Earth's leaders convened an emergency meeting, their faces pale as they debated their options. Surrender seemed inevitable to some, but Steele refused to entertain the idea. If we surrender, humanity is finished. They won't let us live. They'll erase us from existence. We fight, or we die. The turning point came when Marcus Vega, Earth's lead hacker, uncovered a critical vulnerability in the Empire's fleet. Using intercepted data, Vega discovered that the Empire's ships relied on a centralized AI to coordinate their movements and weapon systems. If the AI could be disabled, the fleet would descend into chaos. It's a long shot, Vega admitted, but if we can infiltrate their network and plant a virus, we could level the playing field. Dr. Carter and her team worked alongside Vega to develop the virus, a sophisticated program designed to overload the Empire's AI systems. The challenge was delivering it. The only way to upload the virus was to infiltrate the Empire's flagship, where the central AI core was housed. "I'll go," Voss volunteered without hesitation. "If we're going to take them down, we need to hit them where it hurts." The mission, codenamed Shadow Strike, was the riskiest operation Earth had ever attempted. Voss and a small team of Phantom Spear pilots will use their stealth ships to penetrate the Empire's fleet and board the flagship. Once inside, they would locate the AI core and upload the virus. As the battle raged in orbit, Voss and her team launched their mission. Cloaked in invisibility, their ships slipped through the chaos, dodging enemy fire and weaving between the massive dreadnoughts. When they reached the flagship, they docked in a blind spot and entered the ship. Inside, the Empire's technology was overwhelming. Gleaming corridors, walls lined with alien scripts, and drones patrolling every corner. Voss and her team moved with precision, disabling security systems and evading patrols. When they reached the AI core, Vega's virus was uploaded with seconds to spare. The results were immediate. Across the Empire's fleet, ships faltered. Weapons systems shut down, targeting arrays malfunctioned, and drones froze in mid-flight. The once coordinated armada descended into chaos, leaving them vulnerable to Earth's counterattack. In the command center, Steele watched as the holographic display lit up with signs of the Empire's confusion. "They did it," he said, a rare smile breaking through his stern demeanor. "They actually did it." Earth's defenders seized the opportunity. The Phantom Spear fleet pressed the attack, targeting the now disorganized Empire ships. The satellites fired relentlessly, and ground-based missile systems joined the assault. One by one, the Empire's ships fell. The battle was far from over, but humanity had turned the tide once again. For the first time, it seemed possible that Earth could not only survive but stand as a symbol of defiance in the face of impossible odds. Yet everyone knew the Empire's wrath was far from extinguished. This victory, though monumental, was just another chapter in a war that had only begun.